what's a perfect practice look like? Okay. And there are easy things to figure out. And all optometrists know this. What are the stress points? And it's time and it's money.
Yeah, we're rolling. Okay, so we're here with Dr. Joe Hoja. He is the founder of this massive. This is a massive office. Yes, this is a massive. Maybe not a massive footprint, but you handle a lot of patients. Okay, I've seen your rotation, and you are definitely a doc to set an example of.
Thank you.
We did the renovation here. We expanded you. You built onto the building. We increased you probably, not doubled, but we went up another 30%, right, from what you had originally here.
We made the space better, and we were lucky that we were able to do it almost during COVID, so we weren't seeing patients anyway. So it was a nice advantage at the opportunity to do that. So
the slow period.
Yeah. So
slower period.
And the practice was, I would say, it was more enhanced than expanded. So the footprint is mostly the same, but you just made it better. Okay.
But you obviously had the demand.
Of course,
yeah.
And we're still turning people away now. So, and we're trying to increase our capacity to see more patients the way we are now.
What's your turnaround rate? Like how many patients are you booking per hour?
All right. So quantity is not the key ingredient to success. Okay. So there's an easy way to figure out how many patients you see. You know, how many hours is a doctor working and how many patients they see. Pick a month. I work this many hours in a month. I saw this many patients. Our practice here, it's about 1.8 patients an hour. Okay. Doesn't sound like very much. It's not quantity. It's quality, right? If you boost the quantity, then your revenue per patient goes down, right? And so the optimal number per hour is anywhere from 1.4 to 1.9, and it depends on your support, your staff support. If you have a lot of staff, you can see more patients per hour. Now, some practices will
per doctor.
Per doctor. Per doctor, right. So this office has 2.5 full-time equivalent doctors. There's 5 of them, but some of them are part-time. So, but on average, this practice is 1.8 patients per hour per doctor, right? And but it's only that way because we've delegated enough to do that. If there's an old style practice where the doctor does everything, and if they push that many patients through, then those patients are walking because they're not giving the quality of service, the quality of care. It's not always quantity. It's quality makes a difference. Okay. There's a book that says the longer you spend with someone, the more likely they're going to trust you. So there's always a limit to that, but quantity isn't always the way to go. Okay.
Yeah, because you can. It's easy to get carried away in a discussion. Well, obviously. Okay, so it's easy to get carried away in a discussion. So there is a fine line that a doctor will achieve with, and again, it depends with the individual too, on how you conduct yourself and how. I guess it's something that's going to come natural, and saying I haven't answered this question, or that I haven't made this clear, so you need to spend that extra little bit of time, so that the patient feels that he's gotten the experience and the education that is needed at that time.
That's correct, but in fairness, you can actually measure anything, and so you can measure where your success is based on time, based on the number of staff you have. And there are metrics that can tell you that. It's not a guess, it's not a feel. There are ways to measure that. So the optimum number of staff you should have per doctor is this. The optimum number of patients you should see for an hour is this. It's not a mystery. You can measure that and figure out what that number is. And so we know that.
But this was out of just sheer experience?
If you've been around long enough, you learn things like that, but you also learn from your colleagues.
You don't
too.
Look that old.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. So I'm a member of a business group, right?
Okay.
And that business group does the study of numbers, and they can tell me you need this many staff, you need to see this many patients an hour, and they've measured it. Okay, so I want to plug Climb Performance Partners. That's the network that I'm part of. They're numbers people, and so am I. And so they can tell me, see this many patients an hour for optimum performance, have this many staff. We're not making it up. The numbers are there. And so that's the kind of thing that they've taught me, and I bring it back here and I implement it. So I'll say one thing though. I can tell you what works here, but all doctors work differently. And whatever I say is not a judgment of some other doctor, okay? We can all practice the way we want, and I've said this a lot. There's as many ways to practice optometry as there are doctors, but there are ways to optimize that, and it's measurable. So when I say this is the way we do it here, I'm not judging any other doctor. If one doctor wants to see 3 patients an hour and they feel they're doing a great job and they're happy, that's their business, right? Okay. And if one doctor says, I only have 2 staff and I work this way and I like it, that's completely fine. They're happy. Their patients are happy. So what I say isn't the only way. It's the way that I've learned to do things. And I've learned it from my colleagues, right? From that business group. They've told me this is the way to optimize things. And so I use that information. But I'm not here to judge anybody else who does it a different way. I'll tell you how I do it, okay? But it's not saying that other people do it wrong.
No, but it's nice to follow success. Okay, because success is education. It's tied together, right? So it's and it's experience.
So let me give you some philosophy.
Yeah.
So because I've been doing this for a long time ago, I said, how do I make my life happier? How do I become more enriched? Okay, Frank, you spend a third of your time in bed, sleeping, okay? You spend a third of your time recreational and a third of your time working. That's the average, a third. So if a third of my life is working, I want it to be happy. I want to be enriched. I want to feel successful. And so how do I do that? So a long time ago, I said, what's a perfect practice look like, okay? And there are easy things to figure out, and all optometrists know this. What are the stress points? And it's time and it's money, okay? I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough time to do that. So I said, how do I get rid of those stress points? And so that's why I went to consultants. That's why I ask other people, how do you do this? I go to offices and I visit them and I see how they do things. And I learn from them, right? And so if there are ways to do things in an optimal way to increase profits, but also to give me more time, and I'm going to be happier. And so when I hire a doctor, I say, imagine the perfect way to practice optometry, and all the things that you hate are gone. That's our goal. Now I know that I've got this imagination that I want this to be perfect, and it'll never be perfect. Okay, I've got a goal that I'm striving for that I'll never hit.
But that's what makes you. But that's what makes you.
Yeah.
That's what gives you that energy, that strive, that you're never satisfied.
But that's right? Also why I'm still practicing, and most of my peers are retiring, because I love my job, because I've made it close to perfect, that I like being here.
But you call it a job.
Well,
for you. This is not a job. I don't see this as
career.
This is
a profession.
I almost see this as a happy. What is it, that hobby?
Yeah.
For you, like this, you don't need it. Like you don't say, "Oh my God, I'm late for work" or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you enjoy what you've done, and obviously you're enjoying educating and showing people what you've done. Like we know we have a lot of common friends, and that's what makes I'll say you guys. It's not just you guys. It's women, guys and girls here that make you different. That you love to share.
Of course.
On what you've learned, which again, to me, that doesn't seem like now you've become a teacher. You know, is that a job for me now because I'm a teacher? You guys,
I almost became a teacher. I applied to teachers college. I applied to optometry school. I didn't get into teachers college. I got into optometry school. So that's crazy. So, but no, the whole idea of being independent, and that's true for optometry, for anything, it's it's a myth. No one is truly independent, right? We all depend on others for our success, okay? I depend on you to come here and tell me how my practice looks. I depend on you to create my office. And I depend on my consulting group to help me understand the business of optometry. And I depend on my colleagues to help me see other ideas and other opportunities too. So no one is truly independent. This is an independent eye care practitioner practice, but again, we're not really independent. We depend on our peers and others to do that. And that's true for everyone, right? No one's truly
every industry
exactly.
says
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I strive for perfection, knowing I'm not going to get there, and I'm successful, but I'm not successful alone. I'm successful because I've got all these people helping me. So,
yeah. But you have the communication skills. You know how to ask the right questions, how to listen correctly, and then how to communicate with what you've learned.
Let's say I understand my limitations, I listen a lot, and I implement well. I'm a good implementer. So when I learn something, I implement it. But I go to lots of conferences. I rely on a lot of experts because I understand my weaknesses. Okay, and then I get people who are smarter than me. Surround yourself with smart people. Okay, and then you'll be elevated. So
keep an open mind.
Of course.
Keep an open mind. Yeah. And never be shy to put your 2 cents worth too, because if you don't ask the question. I find that absorption, information absorption, the way you dialogue, different people absorb information differently. So I can talk very slang, and people will hear me. They will hear and absorb what I say, or I can try and be completely different, which is hard for me to do, and try and speak very proper to get to for people to understand a point that I'm trying to make. So having that versatility, again, is key. And, I see that in you. Like you...
There's an authenticity.
I hate to keep giving you compliments, okay? But listen,
It's the only way you got me here, right? So...
But, to me, it's a privilege to be able to sit down and speak to... the key friends that I've made, because you're not just a doc, you're a personal friend of mine, and this is a very. I'm looking at the camera now. This is a really important message that I want to get out to the docs, and you work so differently. We've probably completed maybe close to 300 different doctors now, 250 to 300 that we've worked on and completed, and I keep evolving and changing and trying to stay with the trends. Am I speaking loud enough? Am I okay? Yeah. And constantly learning. I can't believe I'm 60 years old and I'm getting this hunger again for learning, and I keep, my son says, stop calling them you guys or you docs. Okay, so the ODs. I love speaking and learning from your experiences and how that makes such a big difference on how I communicate with people that call me for information, whether it's for consulting, whether it's for design, whether if it's for construction, whatever it is. But where you differentiate like beyond from every single office that I've ever designed and worked with is the way that how you are in the exam room. You are probably only the second or third doc that I know of here in Canada that has a scribe.
Okay.
And that you don't do any refraction.
Correct. But I'm not the only doc that does that. So
that I know of. Okay, so that I can actually ask questions about. So, because everyone could say that I got a scribe or I can have I don't. And they have their version, like what we were talking about the other day. They have their version of that, but
okay. Remember, I said
we have to
I'm an implementer.
Your
Remember?
secret.
No, it's not a secret.
Well, okay, I take that back. We have to know. We have
How
to
does it
show
work?
them why this works.
Okay, so again, I fully appreciate that I've probably had only a few original ideas in my life ever. Everything I've learned, everything I do here, I've stolen from somebody else. Okay, so I'm not the first doctor to scribe. I learned about scribes 20 years ago, started it 20 years ago. I've had scribes for probably 20 plus years, but it's because I implemented it, right? And that goes back to that whole idea of what would I like to do with my practice to make it perfect? And one of the things that optometrists don't like doing is taking notes, right? They're in the room. They want to talk to their patients. They love their patients. That's part of the reason I'm an optometrist. I like doing what I do. But then there's all this note taking that has to happen. And we've got doctors that take notes home to do them at home because they couldn't get them done at work. Or they think it's cool. They can log into their computer screen from home and do their paperwork. But you're still doing your paperwork. Okay, when I finish my day, I don't have any paperwork because somebody did it for me, right? I'm in the room, I see a patient, and we have a conversation like we're having right now, except they're here and I'm over there. And they trust me because I'm giving them eye contact. What other profession should give eye contact? Certainly an eye doctor should, right? And there's a screen there. I'll refer to it for imaging and other things, but I've got a staff member there who takes all the notes. Now, scribes, there are three ways to scribe. There is someone in the room, a person who's actually doing it for us. There are virtual scribes now. Some practices have somebody from overseas on their computer scribing for them. Okay, it saves them money. That person in that country is probably making more money than they
Okay, so
would.
it's a physical person. It's
Yep.
not AI. It's
That's
not
number
voice.
three.
It's not. Oh,
That's
there's
number three.
virtual reality. Oh, wow.
That's coming. It's not fully implemented, but I fully expect. Number three is there's going to be a big push for scribes to be AI. Okay, and I'm looking at that right now, and I'm working with my software company saying this is going to happen. Let me be involved because I know about scribes more than anybody in this country. I can help you. And I look at it and say, this could work. And I think it could work in my office. It would be a different way of doing things. There's still that personal connection. I've got someone over there who I can turn to and they can help me. Where when I get to AI, it's a little less personal. And I think I'll evolve where I have something like a concierge that comes to the room when I need somebody who used to be my scribe. But there are three ways to scribe. Virtually, okay, someone's on the computer there taking notes, someone in the back, and really soon, AI. It's coming.
So you can ask Siri for an opinion.
AI will be right there on your lapel or beside your computer there, and it can copy things perfectly. It's just merging it with the EMR, getting it to work with EMR. That's the big. You've
got instantaneous. You got another resource then there. Like you got instantaneous response on a question. That if it does go AI.
There's lots of potential. People hearing, I want to have a scribe, but I can't afford to have one some back there, I disagree with that. But eventually, scribing will become really common, and it'll be the norm in optometry someday because of the technology that's coming, and it's not far off at all. There already are medical doctors using AI to take their notes. It's not the forefront, right? So it's going to happen. But for my benefit, I like having a scribe because it's another person in the room that can help me with all kinds of things. And there's a personal connection to that person. That scribe stays with me all day. We have chats. We talk about patients. We bounce ideas off each other because they're another brain and they can remind me things.
Yeah, so you got opinions.
I've got someone over there. Oh, doctor, don't you want to talk to them about that lid cleaner you're going to do as they're walking out the door? Oh, thanks, Tiana, for reminding me about that.
Yeah, but you won't get that from with AI.
No. So
that is the personal touch.
Oh, and Tiana, I want to give her some contact lenses. Can you get them for me before she leaves? She walks out, brings them back. The patient's out the door with her contacts, and I didn't have to go get them. Oh, patient needs a prescription for allergies. I'm talking about it, and meanwhile we're doing something else, and all of a sudden the scribe just slides over the prescription. It's sitting right there for me, and I can hand it to them. I don't have to write it out. They wrote it out for me, and I just pick it up and go, here's that prescription we talked about. It's all done for me. Yep. So So that's the perfect nature I'm trying to get to, where I don't have to do as many things, because there's that one thing. How do we make things better? Time and money. How do I create time? You can't make any more time, but can you be more efficient with your time? Sure you can. Get someone to help you, right? And it's all about delegation. Way back, optometrists did everything, right? I pre-test the patient, I see the patient, I do the exam, I take them out to the gallery, which wasn't called a gallery then, it used to be called a dispensary. Stop calling things a dispensary, we're not a drugstore. But they take them out to the eyewear place, and the doctor fits them, the doctor checks their PD, the doctor does everything. Okay, that's an enormous waste of time. And so most doctors don't do that anymore, but most doctors don't use their time as wisely as they could, because everything that's done in this office until the doctor should be working is data collection. Okay?
Right.
It's data collection. Everything until the doctor sits down and analyzes it and diagnoses, most of it is data collection, and most doctors underestimate who should be doing that data collection. So part of writing things into the file is part of data collection. I don't want to do it because I don't like doing it, right? And so I have someone else doing it, and now my life's better, okay? And I don't have to retire as soon, so I can still bug you for another 10 years or 5 years because I haven't retired yet, right? You talked about another option. This is somewhat controversial. I have staff members who do my refractions for me. I'm still supervising. I'm still here. But that's still ultimately data.
It's just data collection.
It's data collection, right? Yeah. And so, and again, this is where this is where I say, if a doctor says, "Oh, I don't want to get rid of that," it's okay. Practice the way you want. Your practice is your practice. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying most doctors get bored doing that. And I've been doing this long enough. It's data collection. I'm going to let someone else do it. And my staff love doing it. And believe me, when I check their results and I tweak things, they're watching from behind the scenes going, "Oh, look, he took all of my prescription, didn't change it at all." And they high five. "Oh, he changed mine a little bit. What did I do wrong there?" So they watch and they compete and they get good at it. I had to learn how to do it once before, and I was no better than them back then, and I can teach them, and so they're good at that.
They get hungry for it.
Oh, they love new things, right? And your staff love being taught new things, and they go to courses with other staff, and they're proud because they can do things that nobody else does. So, but again, it comes down to that time, right? How can I make my day more enjoyable? Take away the things I don't like to do so I can do the things I like to do, and that's talking to people, right? That's helping people, and I don't have to do the note-taking, the scribing, the pre-testing, all those things to help someone. Someone else can give me that information and I can help them. And so that's where you see the practice is different, because you see so many staff here. You say, "Whoa, there's so many staff here."
You are the highest, okay, in staff count per doctor. Okay, but
in Ontario, okay,
yes,
but
yes,
not everywhere.
No,
I mean,
in Ontario, you are of all the, and I know a lot of docs.
You do.
You are by far. Okay. Not even like a couple more. You are by far.
A lot more.
But what I have to say though is, and I'm a strong believer of this, is that we sell customer experience. Okay, so patient customer. I like calling patients customers. Okay.
You can.
So I'm a big promoter of this customer experience, and what better experience can you get than when you have the human touch? Okay, to me, I think that's something that unfortunately we're losing this human touch. We are it's being flushed down the toilet, and we're hoping to, stuff like this to bring it back. Okay, talking open like this to start bringing it back. When I was taught about super teching, this is going back over 12 years ago that I started talking about super teching, and I mentioned it to docs and to doctors, and it was taken with a grain of salt.
Again, they weren't comfortable doing it, so they lived their life that way, and they're fine.
It's a win-win.
Sure
because when the relationship starts, as soon as the door opens, the customer walks in. If someone that is greeting them is taking them by the hand through every scenario of the office, and obviously the only part they can't do is your part, okay? That the customer, patient isn't being switched from one hand to another hand to another hand. The credibility of the office and of the person that is being walked through or led through the whole procedure develops a relationship. At least I believe they do develop a relationship, and you are the person to give an answer for this. If there's anyone that I've ever spoken to, we're going to get a straight answer from you. But I'm going to finish with this. At the end, you are only as good as how that customer, patient is going to see. Okay? And I can speak freely because I'm the nightmare of doctors when it comes to getting behind the prompter, okay? Because I am a really picky patient, okay? And I am very demanding, okay?
No.
I'm very demanding.
You're not
okay?
just talking about eye care, are we?
I was told that I'm a 15-20. And I'm still not happy.
I would be 2015, Frank, not
2015,
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
We want to have the customer, we want them to reap all the benefits from us. But how are we going to give them these benefits? How are we going to keep an open mind on how we're going to give? And to me, that super teching was like a no-brainer. I know maybe for the small offices that are just opening up, because you have to not just learn, but now you have to carry a salary, right? And you have to teach, and there's a big learning curve.
Well,
time and money.
This practice didn't just become this. It happened incrementally, right?
Increments, yes.
So there was a time where I had 4 staff per doctor, like most practices, and then I grew to 5. The staff to doctor ratio here is 9-1, okay? And yeah, nobody in Ontario has
heard
9-1,
that.
okay? Nobody has heard that, or nobody has that in Ontario, or very few places have that, but it's not unique to the world. I learned that from my business consultants, right? The top 10 performers in optometry in the network, this network I'm part of, have that staff to doctor ratio, okay? Lots of optometrists don't have that, and they do well. And again, if they're happy, practice the way you want. But if you want your top performers, if you want to be optimal performance, that's the number. It's been studied. And now there's a lot to it. You don't just hire 9 people for every doctor and say, okay, go out there and do what you need to. I mean, you have to be trained well. You have to have a great culture. And so you have to have good people, and they have to be efficient and do good work. But that's the number, and it's been studied. Again, you can measure just about anything, and you can measure performance. And the performance of a practice is optimal when the staff to doctor ratio is 9-1. And I know,
again, based on data collection, right? This is all based on data collection.
It's not a feeling; it's been measured. Yeah. Okay, and I know most people hearing this are going to go, "I'm never going to have 9-1, doctor. You're crazy," and I'm okay with that. Call me crazy. It works, and maybe my percentage of staff salaries to my overall revenue is higher than most places. I'm positive it is. But I'm happier, okay, and the practice still makes a lot of money, okay, and there's where those points where I talked about. What are the stressors? Time and money, okay? I have more time now because of this, and I do have more money. I give more of it away to my staff because my percentages are higher, but we still reap the benefits of it as well, right? So this practice, or most good performing practices, they get revenues of like $1,000 per doctor hour, right? These practices that are 4-1 and 3-1 staff to doctor ratio, they can't do that, okay? And they're happy, that's fine. But if you want to be a top performer, you got to have the staff. You have to have people who can help you, give you more time to do a good job. And the word in the room that you're thinking for is trust, okay?
Right.
A patient will do what you want them to do and what's best for them if they trust you, okay? And how do you build trust? The only way you build trust is you become authentic in the room, you give them their time, and you make sure that they feel like you're on their side, right? People don't trust doctors or salesmen when they sense that the doctor or the salesman is working for themselves. They're not working for the person,
the individual,
right? And so trust is the main thing. And so when I have a scribe in the room taking all my notes so I can give a patient full focus, and I listen to them and I repeat back to them all those things we've been told to do in business courses, repeat back what they wanted from you, explain it, but I have time to do it because I don't have to type anything into the computer, right? And when I'm finished, the patient knows that everything I've recommended and everything I'm prescribing is because of what they told me, and it's not for my benefit, it's for their benefit, right? Now what happens, what's for their benefit is also for our benefit, because when the patient wins, so does the practice. And so the word is trust. How do you build trust with patients? And you do that by listening and walking in their shoes and doing what's best for them and making sure they understand that as well. And that's only done with time and good quality listening skills. And that's
so it's the quality time that you're putting in here. So because this all stemmed because of that question I asked you a few days ago about this thing that I heard on a podcast where they're trying to evaluate the quality time with the association of the doctor and the relationship, the doctor-patient relationship. The fact that someone else is doing everything and then you walk in and do your slit lamp, do your history, and you're out. But you corrected me like so straight, right to the point, where you said that it's the quality of the time.
It's not the quantity.
Not the quantity. It's the quality of the time, the focus, and how you can be more focused on what you're dealing with at the moment there, based on all the data that's been collected, which again, anyone can collect that data for you.
And I maybe give a patient the same amount of time as another doctor does, but the time I'm giving them is talking to them, where the other doctor is using that time to ask which is better, one or two, or to type something into their computer, or to go get something, where I don't have to do any of that because my staff's done it all for me, right? Lots of times the patient will say when I walk in the room, says, well, what are you here for? Didn't everything get done? You don't have to do anything. Well, of course I have to do things. I have to check their eye health, and I have to verify everything that's been done. And the results are my responsibility. And so I'm doing the doctor thing. I'm analyzing the results, and I'm making the assessments, and I'm diagnosing. And then I'm prescribing appropriately to the information I've learned. I haven't taken any of the data, though. So I've just got the data so I can make those good prescriptions for those patients. And so that's how we work here. And that's what I promote when I hire a doctor. I say to a doctor, come work for me, but we do things differently here. You're not going to have to do this. You're not going to have to do that. You're going to be able to be a doctor and have a relationship with your patients and build trust with them, because that's what it is, okay? If I trust someone, I'm gonna believe them, and I'm gonna do what they tell me to do because I know it's in my interest. And we have better success here because we build that trust. And lots of optometrists have built the same trust. However, they do it as well. Okay, even without the things I have, they build trust and they do a great job. I'm just saying this is the way I like doing it because it gives me more time and it is profitable. So those two trouble spots for any businessman. How do I get time? How do I get money? I'm solving that with delegation, right?
Yeah. Well, what I like about your practice, I was starting on this a few minutes back, and then I got sidetracked. But what I like about your rotation here is the fact that the customer experience, from when they walk through the door until they walk through the door again, is I think it's second to none, because they get. We'll call it the white glove service. They're dealt with. They're not switched hands back and forth. They develop a relationship with the
well, not just me. They develop with the other staff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're just the doc now, right?
Yeah.
They have the relationship with you on a doctor level, then they have the relationship with them on the business level. Right, so for them, like for dispensing, obviously you're gonna have a gallery because you want to sell frames and you want to sell product, or else you won't have a gallery. And we know that with to be a successful doctor, you have to have a successful gallery. Okay, unless you're completely diagnostic, right? But if you're gonna have a gallery, you got to do it right. And I think that you've capitalized on how your office flow works, where the customer, by the time they sit in the chair, or by the time they start browsing and saying, let's go with this frame, or, number one, they're already committed, saying, I'm going to get my glasses here.
Of course.
I feel that this, this is when the customer drops their guard and saying, what, am I going to Costco? Am I going to get my script and I'm going to Costco? Or I'm going to go to Lens Crafters or whatever. But I've always said that trying to swing one of those customers, that's another podcast altogether, but I'm not interested in that customer. Okay, that's the customer that does not appreciate. They appreciate their $2,000 phone, but the fact that they can't see it, they couldn't care less.
Well, we have pressures like that too. I mean, this practice is not immune to the people who want to go to the discounters, right? But those patients are still an opportunity if you listen to them and you find out what their concerns are, right? And if their concerns are money, then we address that, right? So I am not shy at all to ask a patient, where did you get your glasses before? And if they tell me they got them at Costco or whatever discounter it is, I'll say, did you go there because of price? And if they say yes, I say, well, we do have affordable options here. Please give us a chance. I think you'll be surprised. And so we don't give up on them. So per se, I mean,
right.
There's still going to be a percentage of people who don't.
They're still going to go. They're still going to go. Yeah.
But if you still listen to them, sometimes there's something else going on in there. There's this perception that this place is too expensive, and you just have to listen and ask a few more questions, and that's where you have the extra time. Okay.
And this is what I was getting at. Okay. And sorry to interrupt you, but this is what I was getting at, and I want your comment on this. Because you've got this certain way, of practicing here, that confidence level that's being generated with this procedure has an effect on these patients that are turnable. Okay, that can be educated, that will take in this information and say, hold on a second, I'm not looking for that crazy bargain anymore. I'm listening. At least they're opening their mind. They're saying, okay, tell me why should I get a schmear? Why should I get a Zeiss? Why, you're telling them the difference between the lenses depending on their frames, the shapes of their frame, their script and everything. And now it becomes a conversation, and it's not having a conversation with a totally different person again. It's with the one that you've already started to develop a relationship with him from when you walked in through the door. That's why I've always been such a huge fan of the super teching. Now, I've also got pushback with, and this will lead to the question for you, is the turnover of staff in your industry is crazy. I hear it a lot, just for the smallest little thing, it's not just money sometimes. For the smallest thing, they'll just to retrain a staff member in this rotation. I'm sure that you go through.
Well, for me especially, because my staff are at the highest level of training. They just don't do two things and then pass the patient on. They have to learn a lot of things. And so we would really regret if someone left us, because starting over again is very, very hard. By the way, patients start in our office as a scribe, because what better experience would a staff member have,
right?
Okay, if they come in and they learn how great the doctor takes care of the patient, they learn all this technology or all the theory, what the doctor's saying, they learn how it works, and then once they can take notes for the doctor, then they go out and learn how to pre-test, and they already know, okay, I'm doing this because this is how the doctor uses that, and so it's a quick initiation of what optometry is, because they're right in the room. And it's, believe it or not, it's not hard to train a scribe. We can get somebody off the street with no knowledge at all, and 2 to 3 weeks, they're a functional person in this office by scribing. And so that's a great place for them to start. And then they just build from there. They maybe learn a little bit of pre-testing, and now they can help before they do their scribing and so on. And then they build their skills that way. And it gives them some place to go where they incrementally improve their skills, and they like it that way. And when they know so much more, because they've been in the doctor's office watching the patients, they feel like they understand the industry better too. So it's a great place to start someone as well. But it's trust, and you have to be likable too. I mean, if the patient likes you, they're more likely to do what you want too, right? And when I come in the room, a lot of times, they like my staff, right? They'll come in and say, "You have such great staff. Oh, she was so beautiful with me. And they're great. How do you find all these great people?" And I say, well, I've got to have great people. They make up for the doctor here, right? So, and it's a little bit, it's light, and they like that. So, but staff turnover is always going to be a problem, because, some people like it here, but they've got other ideas, right? I mean, most people who work for us in the beginning are young, right? They don't know what they want to do just yet. They come in here, they work. We try to cultivate a great culture. We make it fun here. The staff do like working here. But, I've had patients go off and become dental assistants after they've been here because they thought they'd like to do that. And there's some turnover. But if you do the same things with patients, if you actually care about your staff the same way you care about your patients, the staff see that, right? And they say, well, there's things about this office that I don't think I'm going to get other places, because they can see that we actually care about
Creates
them.
a bond.
Yeah, they care about. They know we care, but it has to be authentic. Again, you can't just hand things to people and say thanks for doing a great job. You have to look them in the eye, and you have to actually truly appreciate them, and make sure they understand that. And that takes practice, because you have to be authentic with yourself and truly care about these people, not just play the game of manipulation. You do have to care about people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and I hope my staff, they understand that. I do lots of things for them. We talk. I have one-on-ones with them often. I try to care with them the same way I care with my patients, so they see that, because I'm the leader, and the speed of this team here is the speed of the leader. Okay. So if I'm authentic, then they're going to be authentic as well, and that matters.
And you're an open book. You are definitely an open book.
Sure is. Yeah.
What you were saying about when you're hiring and you train them, right by your side. Perfect time for screening, right? You'll get the vibe right there and then.
Well,
if there's a potential or not a potential in this employee, right?
And I'm not as tough as my managers. They fire people faster than I do. But hiring's hard, right? I mean, the old saying is you fire fast, but you hire slow, right? So you go through a process where you make sure this person's going to fit your culture. And our staff members, when we hire them, they have a phone interview, they have a job interview, they have a working interview here. They have to work in the office for a day, so they let their guard down, because people can make great interviewers, right? They can be great at interviewing, but can they be that way for a whole day? Maybe. Okay, so then we hire them, and they're on a probation, and they're in here scribing, and they don't know it, but they're still on a probation, sitting right over there with me. But usually by that time, we know if they're going to fit or not. But some people don't, and we learn it right then. It's quickly. Because I get a chance to be with these people. Well, like I said, sometimes they're in my room, and I think they're pretty good, but my managers say, no, that one's not good enough. So, and we move on to people who are good, and that's that culture. That 9 to 1 can't just be any 9 to 1. It has to be 9 to 1 excellent staff per doctor, not just a number. So, and we work hard at that. And then the turnover's lower if you care about them and if you get the right people and the right fit.
There's so much to learn. Like you're so a one of that.
Not true. I steal information from everyone, right? And I'm only one of...
But you turn it into your...
I'm an implementer.
On how you want... You gather that information, but then you turn it into your reality. Okay? Now, people can get information, but to turn it and make it profitable, to turn it to make it successful, to turn it... other people need different guidance, different steps, different manipulations. It almost seems like you're a natural at this.
Well, that's fair, because that turning point in my life, teacher's college or optometry school, we all have those paths. You had this path, Frank, at one point where you were in this fork in the road and you said, which way do I go? And then you're so glad you went one way. Well, I'm in this fork in the road in university, and I'm applying one way and going the other way. And I didn't really know that much about optometry. I thought, well, it's just a dentist, only I don't look in the mouth, right? And so you get in the profession and you learn and you go, wow, the universe put me exactly where I want to be, right? I like business things, I like healthcare, and I was made for this. I know that. So someone was looking out for me, whichever God you want to call it. The universe worked out for me, and I'm right where I want to be, okay? And that's also why I haven't retired yet, because I love my job. I've made it that way, so I love it. And it's about people. I love all the people around me, right? Even you, Frank. I love you too, right? So,
I love you too, Joe.
So that's why I'm still here. But I'm not unique, okay? I'm a part of, like I said, this network I'm in. I sit around a table with 10 other doctors, and we hash out things, we learn things, and they're all doing the same thing I'm doing. You just haven't met some of those doctors before. So,
well, from the docs that I've met is you're unique to that you've really pushed the envelope on staffing. You've pushed the envelope on how you want your rotation to happen. Okay. I'd love to meet some more doctors that are
I'll introduce you.
in this type of business. We'll call it a different type because it is still optometry, but it's a different way of running your business. Okay, and I'd love to share more of this information. People are only going to be able to make decisions or changes in their career or lifestyles when they hear things like, when they hear opinions, when they hear statistics, when they hear successful people like yourself, okay, that and you're happy.
Yeah. Well,
the bottom line is that you are happy doing this.
Happy and fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
And that's why
there's a reward, right? You feel rewarded.
And some people my age are happy to retire, and God bless them, right?
Yeah.
They've moved on to a new part of their life. And I'll retire someday, but I like what I do, and I still have another life because I have extra time now. I'm not tied to files and everything at night. And so I've got a nice blend here. Now at my age, I see patients 3 days a week, and I'm here maybe another day sometimes for some business, but I have a pretty good life, and I built it that way incrementally. And all the people who are out there saying, well, I could never do that, or that would cost too much, those are all valid complaints, but they're solvable if you have an end game. Author Stephen Covey said, do things with an end in mind. Well, my end in mind was, how do I make this place as enjoyable and as fulfilling as possible? And what steps do I have to get there, right? And so that was my end game. And now I'm pretty close to that end, right? And my other doctors benefit from that. My doctors here, they love their life, right? Because they don't have to do as many.
I'm going to interrupt you a second. Yeah. It doesn't sound like you're, I'm getting closer to my end, because the first question you asked me when I walked through the door is, well, I want to make some more changes.
Oh, yeah, so, but
you're still thinking development, you're still thinking modernizing, you're still thinking efficiency, you're still thinking. That doesn't sound like a doctor says, I'm backing off and letting someone else drive the ship. I'm not backing off.
I'm just saying the end. I'm closer to the end than I was 20 years ago. Okay. But the end, the goalposts just keep changing a little bit though, right? And maybe someday I'm going to see patients 2 days a week, and I'll just work more on the business, and I'll have other doctors here work for me. But that just remains to be seen. What do I like? What do I want to do this year? So, and I've created it this way, and the whole idea of a practice, and this is true for any doctor, is you have to put in systems so that ultimately you become redundant, right? So I can be here, a functional person in this practice, but if I go away, I have doctors that plug right in and the practice runs great. And it's because the systems have been built so that it just moves. It just runs, right? Staff know what they're doing. They work. Almost nobody brings me a question. There's another thing, one of those touch points. Staff come and ask me questions all the time. I never get anything done because they keep asking questions. Well, build in your systems so they know what those questions are or those answers are beforehand, and then they don't have to keep coming to you, right? So it's all about systems, processes. Get it so that they're enabled to understand and answer their own questions. And you build a practice that's like a franchise, only it's an independent practice, and it runs itself. And so that's what we've done here. So my end game is not that I'm leaving, but maybe my end game next year is I see patients 2 days a week and I have another day off to do something, or I work on my practice some other way, or I have another doctor here that's joining me. So I have a really good collection of doctors here, but what happens when I go down to 2 days a week? I'll have to find another doctor to fill in there. One of these doctors will work more, but they'll just plug in because the system's already there, right? So I have built this, so I am ultimately redundant, okay? They like me coming in here. I mean, I'm the one that signs their paychecks, of course, so everybody's happy to see me, but I have become redundant because I've made the systems work that way. And these doctors, they love their jobs because they see the same thing that I did. My vision was to make this perfect, and now they're benefiting from what I've built. And they give me feedback all the time. We're evolving. I've got a doctor now who specializes in myopia control. That was never in my end game 20 years ago, but now I've got a doctor that does that. We've got doctors who do specialty contacts, so they keep teaching me as well, right? And I move the goalposts. I make the end game slightly different, but still they have that staff around them supporting them. So the people who do specialty contacts have an optician who helps them, so they don't have to do all the work. And that person who does myopia control have staff members to help them, so they don't have to do all the work. So they benefit from those things I've learned from my consultants, from other doctors. Office visits. I love going to see other offices. You see a lot of offices. You learn a lot from that. But I like going to see other offices. I pick up little things. It's amazing what you can pick up at different doctors' offices. And that's why I hired you, because I was walking around looking at different offices and I was thinking, wow, my systems are great. I could teach them a lot of things. But they've got a nicer office than me, and my practice would be better if it looked like that. And then so eventually I said, Frank, this practice has to be better, because my staff have gone with me to these office visits and they come home thinking that they're really good, but they also come home thinking, boy, I wish I had that extra space like that other office did. And so then I hire you to make this place look good. So there's that, and function properly, right? So now I've got systems that work, and the next step is to have the facility that works too, right? Yeah. And then, maybe I'll make changes, but thanks to you and all the things we've done here over the years, now we have the facility that makes it more enjoyable as well, because that's another factor, right? Time, money, staff, people, but you got to have the facility too. And so it's way more comfortable coming in here now because of all the work that we did together.
Yeah. What you're saying about looking at other, again, looking and exploring and asking questions, we both know Kerry Salzberg. Look at what he did before, we decided to build a new place for him. He traveled the world. Of course. He went everywhere. He pulled out all the stops. Okay. Now, you also hear stuff, that they're successful because second generation and it's a monster practice. It doesn't matter that you're a monster practice or you're first, second, third, fourth generation.
Oh, he's successful. If
you don't know how to maintain your status and keep evolving and changing to see what the customer patient experience, what the next step is, what to keep that interest going, to keep that satisfaction, to keep that bonding agent together. That's what creates the successful office. With him, he's got all of that, just like you. It does. You went around, looked around. I like this. I like this. I like this. It brings you together, and it paints this picture.
Well, you saw his practice before he renovated, right?
The first, then the one he went into to
building with this space, this connected to this space, this big old building, and he promises he was going to leave. I was there because I've known Kerry for a long time, and he had this big old house that had been renovated 7-8 times and never worked anywhere. And so he takes that and he goes into what's now considered a premier practice in the country, probably. And so he's successful, yes, because he had a foundation, but he's taken it to another level because he's learned, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's something you can't just get a hand in and say, okay, run with it. You have to know what you're dealing with and to keep it successful. You can't. You can easily drop the ball.
Yeah,
if
you
don't know what
Kerry.
He's an icon. He's definitely an icon.
I've shared a few things he's learned from me, a few things, but I think I've learned more from him than I've shared with him. He may have a different opinion, but we're good friends, and he's got a great practice. And so he has a different model. He started with his father. I started from scratch. I had nothing. I started in a little space and just started growing, and again, incrementally got better and learned from my peers and my consultants. And I learned from you too, Frank. And that's how we get where we are.
I got to say that I'm blessed that I have relationships like I do with you and other people that I've met in the industry. Makes me very proud. Okay, because I love to learn. You guys are making me so much. So I'm sorry that my slang comes out here, but when you get the appetite, like what I have right now, and my appetite's getting more and more. I'm getting hungrier and hungrier, and I want people to be more and more aware of what this industry is like, and all the possibilities that are out there for you to have. Okay, it's very rare that you've got. There's industries that have peaked, And now there's a million people getting into it, and all you know is the wave is going to slowly it's going to expand and start going downward expansion. Your industry, I think, is the demand is beyond, and it is for yours. It's open for you to. I don't want to say capitalize on it, because it's for you to share your experience. Okay, let's get people seeing the best thing they possibly can, make them aware of what's going on, why their eyes are doing what they're doing, and give them reason so that they can appreciate their $2,000 phone.
Yeah, and we also need optometrists to see another way too. It's not just graduate and work in a little box and churn out prescriptions. We need to show them there are practices that do it differently. That these doctors are really well educated in university. They learn how to do so many things, and that they limit themselves in just one of the little stores. They've just almost wasted their education, and there's so many ways they can be enriched, and so they need places like this to practice to their full capability. Carrie's office, there's lots of practices to do that, and so we have to be that that beacon out there saying there's a way you can actually be an optometrist and enjoy your life rather than just pay your bills.
And we haven't even touched on what we're hoping to expand into, with other procedures or other techniques and things that you are qualified.
Yeah, well, that's a podcast for a younger guy, right? Who knows all those things. So I'll give you my experience, but you want to talk about the future? I'll give you my.
That's what I'm saying. But there's so much future in this industry. That's why I want to bring awareness and education, so we can get the younger generation to ask the questions, and then to follow up on the answers to those questions, so that we can make a difference in this industry and who's governing the industry. Again, any closing comments from you?
Just talk to the doctors. Make sure they know there's a different way, right? You don't have to just go out, graduate, and work for a corporation. There are independent practices like Carrie's, like mine, and lots of other ones that can give an enriching profession to that doctor. They can be happier, more fulfilled. They can still pay their bills. They can have a great life, and keep learning like you do and like I do, and go out and visit practices. There's a different way to do things in different places, and I like having people come here to see my practice. I've got a doctor coming to see it next Friday, so I'll be here. This was your turn. Next week I got a doctor coming to look at my practice. The same way I go out, I love having people coming here to see the practice, because I learn from them too. There's so many ways to practice. None of them are wrong, but this is a way that I like it. And this is the way that feels more fun, more enriching, and it is a way to earn a great living and have a good life.
A good life.
Yeah. Thanks for asking me to do this, Frank. It was fun. I like talking about optometry.
I'm really, and I love casual too, like this, just to put it out there. Okay, I'm try not to bite your tongue too much, like you're going to say the wrong thing or whatever. But it shows your passion. It shows when the passion goes. That's what's going to make the difference on how people absorb information. When you show that you are passionate about something, it seems to sink in a little bit deeper, or they'll give it the second thought instead of just brushing it off. It's another discussion or something.
Your podcast has to develop trust too, right? If you see the person who really cares about this, you'll probably trust what they're saying. So it's important. Yeah. Next one we do has to be in a bar, though, right? I want a glass of beer with you next time, right? So
100%. We will have. We will. And I'm looking at the lens here. So we are going to try and put together maybe 5 or 6 docs. Okay. With a couple cigars and a scotch, okay, or beer.
Okay.
And really just shoot the shit and be overly casual on it. I am definitely blessed that I have friends like you.
Mm-hmm. If you drink too many beers, you're going to do more 4-letter words like that. So maybe it'll be more entertaining, though. So.
Well, it's just... I love this next. I'm 60, and I'm very passionate about whatever I do. I do it with passion. I care about. I always put myself in other people's shoes. Okay, did I say the wrong thing? Are they going to be offended? How are they going to take this tonight when they put their head on their pillow? these are the thoughts that go through my head all the time. Again, thank you for tuning in with us. Thank you, Dr. Joe Hoja. Yeah. We will hopefully have another podcast over and above the cigars, but I do want to have a chat with your staff or the key people in your staff.
Sure.
On how your gallery works, and we may be making a few little more changes in your gallery. So maybe we'll wait after that.
Okay.
And reevaluate, and then we can set up another chat with your staff too.
Yeah.
If you're good with that.
Yeah. Some of them are very photogenic. They like talking way more than I do. They're extroverts. They like talking. So yeah. I've got a few people in mind for you. I think you'd love to talk.
Other than the doctor, let's hear some staff. Some staff. How they see things in their opinion, and
as long as you can edit out what they think of me, cut that part out. Okay.
Again, thank you again so much, and thank you for listening to us. At right now we're still called Evolving Vision, but it looks like we might be changing our name to something a little bit more fun. But for now, it's I'm Frank Carpino. My company is I Evolve Design, and this is Evolving Vision.